The Curtiss P-36 Hawk, also known as the Curtiss Hawk Model 75, is an American-designed and built fighter aircraft of the 1930s and 40s. A contemporary of both the Hawker Hurricane and Messerschmitt Bf 109, it was one of the first of a new generation of combat aircraft, a sleek monoplane design making extensive use of metal in its construction and powered by a powerful radial engine. Perhaps best known as the predecessor of the Curtiss P-40 Warhawk, the P-36 saw little combat with the United States Army Air Forces during World War II. It was nevertheless the fighter used most extensively and successfully by the French Armée de l'Air during the Battle of France. The P-36 was also ordered by the governments of the Netherlands and Norway, but did not arrive in time to see action before both were occupied by Nazi Germany. The type was also manufactured under license in China, for the Republic of China Air Force, as well as in British India, for the Royal Air Force, RAF, and Royal Indian Air Force, RIAF. Axis and CO belligerent air forces also made significant use of captured P-36s. Following the fall of France and Norway in 1940, several dozen P-36s were seized by Germany and transferred to Finland. These aircraft saw extensive action with the Ilmavoimat Air Force against the Soviet air forces. The P-36 was also used by Vichy French air forces in several minor conflicts. In one of these, the Franco-Thai War of 1940-41, P-36s were used by both sides. From mid-1940, some P-36s en route for France and the Netherlands were diverted to Allied air forces in other parts of the world. The Hawks ordered by the Netherlands were diverted to the Dutch East Indies and later saw action against Japanese forces. French orders were taken up by British Commonwealth Air Forces, and saw combat with both the South African Air Force, SAAF, against Italian forces in East Africa, and with the RAF over Burma. Within the Commonwealth, the type was usually referred to as the Curtiss Mohawk. With around 1,000 aircraft built by Curtiss itself, the P-36 was a major commercial success for the company. It also became the basis not only of the P-40, but two other, unsuccessful prototypes, the YP-37 and the XP-42. Design and development. The Curtiss Model 75 was a private venture by the company, designed by former Northrop Aircraft Company engineer Don R. Berlin. The first prototype, constructed in 1934, featured all-metal construction with fabric-covered control surfaces, a Wright XR1670-5 radial engine developing 900 HP, 670 kilowatts, and typical United States Army Air Corps armament of 1.30 in, 7.62 mm, and 1.50 in, 12.7 mm, machine gun firing through the propeller arc. Also typical of the time was the total absence of cockpit armor or self-sealing fuel tanks. The distinctive landing gear, which rotated 90 degrees to fold the main wheels flat into the thin trailing portion of the wing, resting atop the lower ends of the main gear struts when retracted, was a Boeing patented design for which Curtiss had to pay royalties. The prototype first flew on May 6, 1935, reaching 281 miles per hour, 452 kilometers per hour, at 10,000 feet, 3,000 m, during early test flights. On May 27, 1935, the prototype was flown to Wright Field, Ohio, to compete in the USAC fly-off for a new single-seat fighter, but the contest was delayed because the Seversky entry crashed on its way there. Curtiss took advantage of the delay to replace the unreliable engine with a Wright XR18-2039 Cyclone producing 950 HP, 710 kilowatts, and to rework the fuselage, adding the distinctive scalloped rear windows to improve visibility. The new prototype was designated Model 75B with the R1670 version retroactively designated Model 75D. The fly-off finally took place in April 1936. Unfortunately, the new engine failed to deliver its rated power and the aircraft only reached 285 miles per hour, 459 kilometers per hour. Although the competing Seversky P-35 also underperformed and was more expensive, it was still declared the winner and awarded a contract for 77 aircraft. However, On June 16, 1936, Curtiss received an order from USAC for 3 prototypes designated Y1P36. The USAC was concerned about political turmoil in Europe, and about Seversky's ability to deliver P-35s in a timely manner, and therefore wanted a backup fighter. The Y1P36, Model 75E, was powered by a 900 HP Pratt & Whitney R1830-13 twin Wasp engine, and the scalloped rear canopy was further enlarged. The new aircraft performed so well that it won the 1937 USAC competition with an order for 210 P-36A fighters. The aircraft's extremely low wing loading of just 23.9 lb/foot superscript 2 gave it outstanding turning performance, and its high power-to-weight ratio of 0.186 HP/lb gave superb climbing performance for the time. The lack of an engine supercharger was a serious handicap at high altitudes. Compared to the later Allison-engined P-40, the P-36 shared the P-40's traits of excellent high-speed handling, roll rate that improved at high speed, and relatively light controls at high speed. However, it was underpowered, affecting its acceleration and top speed, and it did not accelerate in a dive as well as the P-40. Curtiss YP-37. In early 1937, the USAC ordered Curtiss to adapt one P-36 to the new liquid-cooled turbo-supercharged Allison V1710 engine with 1,150 HP, 860 kilowatts. Designated Curtiss XP-37, the aircraft used the original Model 75 airframe with radiators mounted on the sides of the fuselage around the engine. The cockpit was moved far to the rear to make room for the radiators and the bulky turbocharger system, and to balance the aircraft. The aircraft flew in April 1937, reaching 340 miles per hour, 550 kilometers per hour, at 20,000 feet, 6,100 m. Although the turbo supercharger was extremely unreliable and visibility from the cockpit on takeoff and landing was virtually non-existent, the USAC was sufficiently intrigued by the promised performance to order 13 service test YP-37s and spares at a contract cost of $531,305.12. Featuring improved aerodynamics and a more reliable turbo supercharger, the aircraft first flew in June 1939. However, the power plant remained unreliable and the project was cancelled in favor of another Curtiss design, the P-40. Curtiss XP-42. The fourth production P-36A, serial 38-004, became a development platform for a direct successor, designated XP-42 by the USAC. The most striking difference with the P-36 was a longer, streamlined nose cowling, concealing a longer propeller shaft. These features attempted to improve the aerodynamics of the air-cooled radial engine. Because of this feature, the XP-42 superficially resembled aircraft equipped with inline liquid-cooled engines, such as the P-40. When the XP-42 first flew in March 1939, it proved to be faster than the P-36. However, the P-40 was faster and the new nose cowling caused engine cooling problems that proved to be unresolvable, despite at least 12 sets of modifications. The XP-42 project was cancelled. However, the XP-42 prototype was retained as test bed and was later fitted with an all-moving tail, stabilator, for research purposes. Operational history. Argentina. Argentina bought a number of the simplified, fixed landing gear Hawk 750s, intended for rough field operations and ease of maintenance, and purchased a manufacturing license for the type. 30 were built and delivered by Curtiss, and 20 produced locally. These aircraft used the same engine, Wright Cyclone R1820G5 as the Martin 139 WAAS and Northrop 8A2S used by the Argentine Army Aviation at the time. Usually armed with one 11.35 mm, 0.45 in, Madsen machine gun and three 7.65 mm, 0.30 in, Madsen light machine guns, there was provision for up to 10 30 pounds, 14 kilograms, bombs on underwing pylons. The last Argentinian Hawks remained in service until November 1954. Brazil. In March 1942, 10 USAC P-36s were transferred to Brazil. British Commonwealth. The Royal Air Force, RAF, also displayed interest in the aircraft. Comparison of a borrowed French Hawk 75A2 with a Supermarine Spitfire Mki revealed that the Hawk had several advantages over the early variant of the iconic British fighter. The Hawk was found to have lighter controls than the Spitfire at speeds over 300 miles per hour, 480 kilometers per hour, especially in diving attacks, and was easier to maneuver in a dogfight, thanks to the less sensitive elevator, and better all-around visibility. The Hawk was also easier to control on takeoff and landing. Not surprisingly, the Spitfire's superior acceleration and top speed ultimately gave it the advantage of being able to engage and leave combat at will. Although Britain decided not to purchase the aircraft, they soon came in possession of 229 Hawks by way of diverted shipments to occupied France and aircraft flown by escaping French pilots. The aircraft received the designations Mohawk I-4, mirroring French Hawk 75A1 through A4, and were fitted with 0.303 cal Vickers K machine guns and conventional throttles, forward to increase power. Although they were considered obsolete, a number saw service with the RAF and Royal Indian Air Force, RIAF, in India and Burma. In April 1941, the British government of India ordered 48 cyclone-powered Mohawk IVZ, Hawk 75A, for the RIAF, to be built by Hindustan Aircraft. The first such aircraft completed was test-flown on July 31, 1942. However, only 4 additional aircraft were completed before the project was abandoned. The Indian-built series were used by RAF/RIAF units. Similarly, Chinese license production of the Hawk 75A5 was moved to India, and these aircraft were also absorbed into RAF as Mohawk IVs. These aircraft were supplemented by 10 Hawk 75A9s captured during the Anglo-Soviet invasion of Iran in August 1941, while 74 ex-French Mohawk IVs were shipped to India from the United Kingdom. The only RAF units to see combat in Mohawks were No. 5 Squadron RAF and No. 155 Squadron RAF, using the type mainly for bomber escort and ground attack. The type was retired by the RAF/RIAF in 1944. The South African Air Force received 72 Mohawks. Its first Mohawks were delivered to East Africa in mid-1941, where they were used by 3 Squadron SAAF to support operations in the East African Campaign, taking part in the Battle of Gondar which ended the campaign, and helping to patrol the border with Vichy French-held Djibouti. These Mohawks were then sent to South Africa, where, supplemented by fresh deliveries, they were used for training and for home defense. China. The prototype of the Hawk 75H, a simplified version with fixed landing gear, like the 75O, was eventually sold to the Chinese nationalist government, who presented it to Claire L. Chennault for personal use. China also received 2 similar demonstrators, the Hawk 75 Quetzales. They also used a number of simplified Hawk 75 milliseconds against the Japanese. The Hawk 75A5 was built under license in China, but production was later moved to India, and these aircraft were absorbed into the RAF as the Mohawk 4. Finland. After the fall of France, Germany agreed to sell captured Curtiss Hawk fighters to Finland in October 1940. In total, 44 captured aircraft of 5 subtypes were sold to Finland, with 3 deliveries from June 23, 1941 January 5, 1944. Not all were from the French stocks. 13 were initially sold to Norway and captured when the Germans conquered that country. The aircraft were given serial codes CU-501 to CU-507, A4 submodel with Cyclone, and CU-551 to CU-587, all other submodels with Twin Wasp. In Finnish service, the Hawk was well liked, affectionately called Sussu, sweetheart. The Finnish Air Force enjoyed success with the type, credited with 191/3 kills by 58 pilots, between July 16, 1941 and July 27, 1944, for the loss of 15 of their own. Finnish ace Kyösti Karela scored 12 1/4 of his 32 1/4 victories in the Hawk, while the top Hawk Aske Tervo scored 14 1/4 victories. The Finnish Hawks were initially armed with either 4 or 6 7.5 mm machine guns. While sufficient during the early phase of the continuation war, the increasing speeds and armor of Soviet aircraft soon showed this armament was not powerful enough. From 1942, the State Aircraft Factory replaced the fuselage machine guns with either 1 or 2.50 in, 12.7 mm, Colt machine guns and installed 2 or 4.303 in, 7.7 mm, Browning machine guns in each wing. The 12.7 mm Berezin UB or LKK/42 heavy machine guns were also used. The installation of heavier armament did not change the very good flying characteristics of the fighter, but the armament was much more effective against Soviet aircraft. The Finnish Hawks were also equipped with Rivi 3D or C/12D gun sight. Surviving Finnish aircraft remained in service with the FAF aviation units HLV 13, HLV 11, and Lesk until August 30, 1948, when the last operational Finnish Hawks were put into storage. In 1953, the stored aircraft were scrapped. France. Even before the P-36A entered production, the French Air Force entered negotiations with Curtiss for delivery of 300 aircraft. The negotiating process ended up being very drawn out because the cost of the Curtiss fighters was double that of the French Morane Saulnier M.S.406 and Block MB.150, and the delivery schedule was deemed too slow. Since the USAC was unhappy with the rate of domestic deliveries and believed that export aircraft would slow things down even more, it actively opposed the sale. Eventually, it took direct intervention from U.S. President Franklin Roosevelt to give the French test pilot Michel Detroit a chance to fly the Y-1 P-36. Detroit's enthusiasm, problems with the MB.150, and the pressure of continuing German rearmament finally forced France to purchase 100 aircraft and 173 engines. The first Hawk 75A1, or H-75A1N-1, arrived in France in December 1938 and began entering service in March 1939. Few months later, this aircraft was part of Groupe de Chasse 2/5 Lafayette, heir of the Escadrille Lafayette that fought in France during World War I, and was wearing the famous Sioux head on its fuselage side. After the first few examples, aircraft were delivered in pieces and assembled in France by the Société Nationale de Constructions Aéronautiques du Centre, officially designated as the Curtiss H-75C1. The Hawk name was not used in France. The aircraft were powered by Pratt & Whitney R1830 SCG engines with 900 HP and had instruments calibrated for the metric system, a seat for French dorsal parachutes, a French-style throttle which operated in reverse from US and British aircraft, full throttle was to the rear rather than to the front, an armament of 4, later models had 6 with 2 firing through the prop and 4 in the wings, 7.5 mm FN Browning machine guns, aimed with a French-supplied Bailly-Lemaire gun sight. The aircraft evolved through several modifications, the most significant being the installation of the Wright R1820 Cyclone engine. The H-75C1 variant saw little operational use due to its late delivery and reliability problems with the Wright radial engine. A total of 316 hours 75 seconds were delivered to France before the German occupation. On September 20, Sergeant André Armand Legrand, pilot of the H-75A1N-1 in the Groupe de Chasse 2/5 Lafayette, was credited of the first Allied air victory of World War II on the Western Front with shooting down one Messerschmitt Bf 1090 of the Luftwaffe 3/JG-53, over Oberhern. During 1939–1940, French H-75 pilots claimed 230 air-to-air kills, of a total of 1,009 air-to-air kills by the French Air Force during the 1939–40 time period, and 81 probable victories in H-75s against only 29 aircraft lost in aerial combat. While making up only 12.6% of the French Air Force single-seater fighter force, the H-75 accounted for almost a third of the air-to-air kills during the 1940 Battle of France. Of the 11 French aces of the early part of the war, 7 flew H-75s. The leading ace of the time was Lieutenant Edmund Marin-La-Mesley with 15 confirmed and 5 probable victories in the type. H-75 equipped squadrons were evacuated to French North Africa before the armistice to avoid capture by the Germans. While under the Vichy government, these units clashed with British aircraft over Mers El Kabir and Dakar. During Operation Torch in North Africa, French H-75s fought against U.S. Navy F-4F Wildcats, losing 15 aircraft while shooting down 7 American aircraft. From late 1942 on, the Allies started re-equipping the formerly Vichy-controlled French H-75 units with P-40S and P-39S. Iran. A total of 10 Hawk 75A9s were delivered to Persia, but were captured by the British during the Anglo-Soviet invasion of Iran while still in crates. These were then used by the RAF in India as Mohawk IVs. Dutch East Indies. In October 1939, the Netherlands ordered 24 Hawk 75A7s for their colonies of the Dutch East Indies, Oost-Indie. These planes were powered by 1,200 HP Cyclones. Factory armament was 1.50-inch and 1.303-inch machine gun in the cowl with 2.303 machine guns in the wings. After delivery, the .50 weapons were replaced to standardize parts and ammo. The plane could carry 6 23 kg bombs. The fighters were shipped in 1940 and almost rerouted to the Netherlands when Germany invaded. But as the mainland surrendered, the aircraft came to the colonies where they were used extensively against the Japanese attack on the far eastern part of the kingdom. By that time, the aircraft had flown so many hours that the engines were showing serious wear and tear. Most Dutch Hawks were assigned to the 1 St. Jacht Vliegafdeling, Vliegtuig Groep 4, 1 St. Java, 1 VLG-4, 1st Fighter Squadron, Flying Group 4, of the Royal Netherlands East Indies Army Air Force, MLKNIL, although some flew with 1 VLGV. These aircraft saw action over Malacca, Sumatra, and Java, successfully bombing the railroad and intercepting bombers, and participated in the extensive dogfights over Soerabaja, where USAF, RAF, and ML aircraft fought Japanese bombers and fighters together. Norway. Norway ordered 24 twin Wasp-powered Hawk 75A6s, of which 19 were delivered and 7 assembled at the time of the German invasion. None of the aircraft were combat-ready. The disassembled aircraft were disabled by a single customs employee who smashed the instruments and cut all the wires he could reach. 13 Norwegian Hawks captured by the Germans were part of the first batch of 29 P-36s sent to Finland. Norway also ordered 36 Cyclone-powered Hawk 75A8s. Most of this batch, a total of 30, were delivered as advanced trainers to Little Norway near Toronto, Ontario, Canada, a Norwegian training base established by the London-based government in exile. Still later, they were resold to the US and redesignated the P-36G model. Peru. In 1943, the US sent 28 Hawks to Peru under the Lend-Lease Agreement. These were ex-Norwegian P-36Gs that had served in Canada. Portugal. Portugal was officially neutral during World War II, although the Allies were allowed to use or establish ports and airfields on various Portuguese territories. One result of these friendly relations was the transfer by the British government of 12 Hawk 75A variants to the Forca Area Portuguesa, FAP, which assigned them to air defence duties in the Azores. Thailand. A few Hawk 75NS were used by Thailand during the French-Thai War. They also fought at the Battle of Prachuapkhirikan against Japanese forces during the Japanese invasion of Thailand. On January 28, 1941, the Royal Thai Air Force, RTAF, dispatched 9 Ki-30 Nagayas, escorted by 3 Hawk 75s, to bomb Palin and Sisophon in French Indochina. Thailand was perhaps the only country operating both Japanese and American aircraft just before World War II. United States. The first production P-36s were delivered to the 20th Pursuit Group at Barksdale Field in Louisiana in April 1938. The aircraft's service history was marred by numerous teething problems with the engine exhaust, skin buckling over landing gear, and weak points in the airframe, severely restricting the performance envelope. By the time these issues were resolved, the P-36 was considered obsolete and was relegated to training units and overseas detachments at Albrook Field in the Panama Canal Zone, Elmendorf Field in Alaska, and Wheeler Field in Hawaii. The P-36S had been delivered to Hawaii in February 1941 by being loaded on the carrier the USS Enterprise in California, then in a first for the USAC, flown off the carrier's deck by the P-36S U.S. Army Air Corps pilots when the Enterprise neared the coast of Hawaii. This saved considerable time over the traditional shipping method of having the fighters first disassembled, crated, and then loaded by crane in the hold of a freighter, then unloaded and reassembled in Hawaii. The only combat by U.S. operated P-36S took place during the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. 5 of the 39 P-36A Hawks at Pearl Harbor, delivered previously by the USS Enterprise, were able to take off during the attack and were credited with shooting down 2 Japanese Mitsubishi A6M20s for the loss of 1 P-36, among the first U.S. aerial victories of World War II. Variants: Model 75A. Company-owned demonstrator aircraft flown with several engine fits. Model 75B. Prototype with Wright R1820 radial engine. Model 75D. First prototype, Wright Whirlwind R1670 radial. Model 75H. Internal company designation for a simplified export version with fixed landing gear, 2 slightly differing aircraft built, first sold to China, second to Argentina. Model 75I. Company designation for the P-37. Model 75J. Company-owned 75A temporarily fitted with an external supercharger. Model 75K. Unbuilt version, intended to use the Pratt & Whitney R2180 Twin Hornet radial. Model 75P. Production P-36A, serial 38-010, fitted with Allison V1710 liquid-cooled engine, prototype for Curtiss P-40. Model 75R. Company-owned 75A temporarily fitted with R1830 SC2G with turbo supercharger, attained 330 miles per hour, 530 kilometers per hour, but proved complex and unreliable. Y1 P-36, Model 75E. USAC prototype, Pratt & Whitney R1830. P-36A, Model 75L. USAC version, P-36A3 mounted 4.30 in, 7.62 mm, machine guns in the wings in addition to fuselage armament. P-36B. Production P-36A fitted with an R1830-25 producing 1100 HP, 820 kilowatts, reached 313 miles per hour, 504 kilometers per hour, returned to original P-36A configuration. P-36C. An additional 0.30 in machine gun installed in each wing with external ammunition boxes under the wings, R1830-17 of 1200 HP, 890 kilowatts, last 30 production aircraft were completed as P-36CS. XP-36D. Production P-36A modified with 2.50 in, 12.7 mm, machine guns in the nose and 40.30 in machine guns in the wings. XP-36E. Production P-36A armed with 40.30 in machine guns in the wings, retained standard fuselage guns. XP-36F. Production P-36A fitted with two 23 mm, 0.91 in, Madsen autocannons under the wings, reverted to P-36A because guns imposed an unacceptable performance penalty with top speed of only 265 miles per hour, 426 kilometers per hour. P-36G. Hawk 75A8 used by Norway for training in Canada, later delivered to Peru. R1820G205A of 1200 HP. Hawk 75A1. First production batch for France, 47.5 mm, 0.295 in, machine guns, R1830 SCG of 900 HP, 670 kilowatts, 100 built. Hawk 75A2. Second production batch for France, either R1830 SCG or 1050 HP, 780 kilowatts, R1830 SC3G, 7.5 mm machine guns, 100 built. Hawk 75A3. Third production batch for France, similar with Hawk 75A2, 135 built, 133 delivered. Hawk 75A4. Last production batch for France, Hawk 75A2 with Wright R1820G205A Cyclone Radial with 1200 HP, 285 built, 81 delivered to France, others to Great Britain as Mohawk 4. Hawk 75A5. Similar to Hawk 75A4. Built under license in China, production was later moved to India, absorbed into RAF as Mohawk 4. Hawk 75A6. Version for Norway, aircraft captured during the German invasion were eventually sold to Finland. Hawk 75A7. Version for Netherlands East Indies, 1200 HP Cyclone, 1.5 in, 12.7 mm, and 1.303 in, 7.7 mm, in cowl and 2.303 in, 7.7 mm, in wings, later 4.303 in, 7.7 mm, 2 in nose, 1 in each wing, and 650 pounds, 23 kilograms, bombs. Hawk 75A8. Export version for Norway. Later redesignated P-36G. Hawk 75A9. 10 aircraft delivered to Persia, captured still in crates and used by RAF in India as Mohawk IVs. Hawk 75M. Simplified version with fixed landing gear and Wright R1820 Cyclone for China, built by both Curtiss and Central Aircraft Manufacturing Company in China. Hawk 75N. Simplified version for Siam, Thailand, with non-retractable landing gear and wheel pants. Hawk 750. Simplified version for Argentina, 30 built and delivered by Curtiss with additional 200 to be built under license locally by Fábrica Militar de Aviones, however only 20 were completed. Hawk 75Q. 2 additional simplified demonstrators for China. At least one is reputed to have been given an armament similar to that of the XP-36F and to have engaged in combat over Shanghai during the Japanese attacks in September 1937, reportedly shooting down several bombers before being brought down with the loss of the American pilot. XP-37. Allison V-1710 inline, cockpit moved to the rear of the fuselage. YP-37. Service test version of XP-37, 13 built. XP-42, Model 75s. Test bed for streamlining cowlings around air-cooled engines. Surviving aircraft. New Zealand. Cu-554 Hawk 75A6 under restoration to airworthy condition at Omaka Aerodrome in Blenheim, New Zealand. Thailand. Unknown ID Hawk 75N on static display in the Royal Thai Air Force Museum in Bangkok. United Kingdom. N-82 Hawk 75A1 airworthy at the Fighter Collection in Duxford, Cambridgeshire. It was one of the first 100 delivered to the French in April 1939. It wears French camouflage and is painted in markings from 2 different periods during its service on either side of the fuselage. 38 to 210 P-36C airworthy at the Fighter Collection in Duxford, Cambridgeshire. It was the last P-36C built and was restored in 2015 in Chino, California before being shipped to England. It is painted in U.S. Army Air Corps silver and yellow. United States. 38-001 P-36A on static display at the National Museum of the United States Air Force in Dayton, Ohio. It is the first P-36A to be delivered to the Air Corps and is displayed in the markings of the P-36A flown by Lt. Phil Rasmussen during the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. Specifications, P-36A. General characteristics. Crew, 1. Length, 28 feet 6 in, 8.7 m. Wingspan, 37 feet 4 in, 11.4 m. Height, 8 feet 5 in, 2.6 m. Wing area, 235.94 feet superscript 2, 21.92 square meters. Empty weight, 4,567 pounds, 2,076 kilograms. Loaded weight, 5,650 pounds, 2,560 kilograms. Max takeoff weight, 6,010 pounds, 2,732 kilograms. Power plant, 1 times Pratt & Whitney R1830-17 twin wasp air-cooled radial piston engine, 1050 HP, 783 kilowatts. Performance. Maximum speed, 313 miles per hour, 272 knots, 500 kilometers per hour, at 8,500 feet, 2,960 m. Cruise speed, 270 miles per hour, 235 knots, 432 kilometers per hour. Range, 625 miles, 543 nmi, 1006 kilometers, at 270 miles per hour, 419 kilometers per hour, 860 miles, 748 nmi, 1385 kilometers, at 200 miles per hour. Service ceiling, 32,700 feet, 9,967 m. Rate of climb, 3,400 feet/min, 17 m/s. Wing loading, 23.9 lb/foot superscript 2, 116.8 kg/m superscript 2. Power/mass, 0.186 HP/lb, 306 W/kg. Armament. Guns. 1 times 0.30 in, 7.62 mm, M1919 Browning machine gun. 1 times 0.50 in, 12.7 mm, M2 Browning machine gun. Bombs. Some were also later fitted with a single hardpoint under each wing that could carry a bomb of up to 100 pounds, 45 kilograms, or a light bomb rack for 350 pounds, 23 kilograms, 520 pounds, 9 kilograms, or 30 pounds, 14 kilograms, bombs. Roll fighter. Manufacturer Curtiss-Wright Corporation. First flight May 6, 1935. Introduction 1938. Retired 1954, Argentina. Primary users United States Army Air Corps, Finnish Air Force, French Air Force, Royal Air Force. Number built 215, P-36, plus 900 export Hawk 75 variants. Unit cost, $23,000. Developed into Curtiss P-40 Warhawk.
Please subscribe and thanks for watching.